So obviously, like I said, I was kind of talking to other people. Like I'm gonna like post this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end up asking, if you guys have any questions, just write your questions down, and I'll definitely go through the questions. But I'm gonna get through this. It's kind of lengthy, but my name is Jonathan Clark, aka J Clark the Jumper. You guys know one of my mottos. Thank you. My big motto is do the impossible. So when Andy gave me an opportunity to speak on doing the impossible and accomplishing goals, I jumped at the chance. So that's what this presentation is on. So it's whether you want to achieve a dunk that you've never hit before, but it doesn't have to stop at just like doing dunks. It can be anything in life that you want to pursue. You can do the impossible. I broke it down into 3 simple steps. We start with step 1, belief over reality. As you guys are probably all aware, you gotta believe you can do something if you want to accomplish it. I coach track and field as well as dunking, and I talk to my student athletes about Roger Bannister. Anybody familiar with Roger Bannister's story? It's good, a lot of people out here. Roger Bannister is the man who broke the 4-minute mile barrier. Now, in 1954, they thought it was physically impossible to run a mile in under 4 minutes. They thought your heart would explode if you attempted that. And when I tell people that nowadays, of course you get the laugh, like that sounds crazy, because we know for a fact, that it won't happen, because on May 6th, 1954, Roger Bannister did it. But even more impressive, and why this is a story that is always shared, less than 2 months later, somebody else broke the 4-minute mile barrier. Since then, thousands of people have broken the 4-minute mile barrier, as young as 15 years old and as old as 40 years old. Currently this year, these are the mile rankings in 2026. This year alone, mind you, the year is not over. 253 people have broken the 4-minute mile barrier. Now, you go 70 years, I know it seems like a long time ago, but it's not that long. 70 years ago, they thought this was physically impossible. And today, in today's modern era, over 250 people can accomplish this feat. So what's different? We know the tracks are different, the shoes are different. Yes, you probably heard of trackflation and all of those things. But the big difference is 250 people step to the line knowing that it can be accomplished. So when we talk about belief over reality, you have to believe you can accomplish things, because that's going to be the first thing that sets the tone. You got to believe it. Now, it sounds great to say, oh, just believe that. There's a lot of things like, I wish I could fly. I wish I had the Flash's super speed. In order to achieve those goals, yes, belief is the starting point, but then there needs to take some actionable items to those. And with that, we're gonna use the law of attraction to help strengthen this concept of belief. Law of attraction is simply stating like attracts like. What you think, what you manifest, what you want, you're going to bring to yourself. We're going to bring that in 4 simple steps. The first one is visualization. Now, think of your dream car. Obviously, you can kind of see the things that you want about that car, whatever color it is, whatever, but when we're talking about visualization, I want you to be hyper realistic. I want you to, what does it feel like sitting in that car? Is it leather seats? Is it, cashmere? Whatever you feel. What does it feel like when you start the car? Is it rumbling under you? Is it smooth? Is it quiet? When you're having these visualizations, like if you're going for a dunk, if you're trying to accomplish a dunk, what does it feel like when your hand hits the rim? Think about the impact of your feet hitting the ground after you complete the dunk, and how that feels. Make it as real as you can be. Affirmations, positive sayings, statements that affirm the things that you want, going back to that law of attraction. Now, with these affirmations need to be based off of what you want. So if you say like, I don't want to miss, I don't want to miss, I don't want to miss, what are you saying? You're saying miss, miss, miss. Make sure that those affirmations are positive and they're geared towards the things that you want to accomplish. And that goes back with the positive focus. As you guys see this little like purple-ish dinosaur, I want you guys to close your eyes. The reason why I highlighted that one, we're going to illustrate with a simple example. Everybody close your eyes, and whatever you do with all your power and all your might, do not think of purple elephants. What is the first thing that came into your mind, right? When pilots are learning to land planes, they don't think about not crashing the plane. They're focused on doing the task that they want to do. So when you guys are thinking, visualizing, affirming. Make sure that it is positive focus and it's focused directly on what you want to accomplish. Be specific in those goals. And then last but not least is the inspired action. You know, everybody wants to get, you know, in shape, but are you gonna go to the gym to get the actions need to match the goals, the affirmations, the visualizations that you wanna do. When you guys start to set out and you're in that inspired action stage and you guys are creating a plan, we need to go to step number 2, and that is gonna be simplicity over complexity. A lot of times when we're creating things and we're trying to achieve those goals that may seem really far out there, you think it has to be solved with the most complex answer. It has to be, oh, I have to be doing this and this and this and this. And a lot of times that is one of the things that gets in the way of us accomplishing our goals, making it too complex. We're gonna use Occam's razor to kind of help dictate, you know, whatever we're doing and setting those goals. And Occam's razor simply says that, you know, the simplest answer is typically gonna be the right one. And this is not like law, this is not fact, it is just a guide for us to kind of use that. Like if we're trying to accomplish something, a lot of times the answer is staring us in the face, and it is that simple. It's just we're not trying to make it more complex than it needs to be. And I'm gonna use an example. I love movies. One of my favorite movies is The Prestige. Has anybody seen The Prestige? It's a great movie. I'm so sorry, I'm gonna spoil it a little bit, but the movie came out 20 years ago, so you guys had plenty of time to watch it, so I don't feel bad. But The Prestige, you have Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, so you have Batman and Wolverine. I know this is not a DC crossover, but this is the closest that we're gonna get to it. But these guys are magicians, and during this time, like, magicians are rock stars. They're like the guy, like they're the magicians, and they're dueling magicians. They're trying to one-up each other. They're trying to, you know, come up with the better magic trick, right? So Christian Bale, as you see, has that red ball in his hand. Christian Bale comes up with the trick, the transported man. You have 2 doors with nothing in between them. He shows you the doors, he opens them, he walks through them, he takes the ball, he bounces the ball, he closes the door, and on the other side, he opens the other door and catches the ball. And it blows everybody's mind at this time. It's like the craziest thing ever. Well, Hugh Jackman's character spends most of the movie trying to figure out how he did the transported man. And this is a Christopher Nolan movie, so obviously there's love interest, there's murder, there's mystery, there's so much intertwined in this magic movie, but ultimately, it's about, you know, trying to figure out how he does this movie. And I'm not gonna spoil everything, but I am gonna spoil the main thing at the end of the movie. Christian Bale, Batman, is able to do this trick because he has a twin brother. And the whole time, the whole movie, him and his brother live the same exact life. And people don't know that. So that's why that trick is able to work. So we get to the end of the movie, Hugh Jackman discovers, like, you had a double, no, a twin. And he says to Christian Bale, he was talking to another guy. He was like, Cutter said it was a double. It couldn't be that simple. It couldn't be that easy. And Christian Bale responds to him, simple, yes. Easy, no. And in that scene, he goes to this montage and he tells them how they had to live a double life. And yes, it is, when you think about the trick, it is so simple to be able to jump to another place when you're not at that place. But like I said, they were dueling magicians. So throughout the movie, they're like interfering with each other's magic tricks. And Christian Bale gets some fingers cut off. One of the brothers gets some fingers cut off in the movie. So in order to keep the lie going, the twin brother has to cut his fingers off in order for no one to know. So is it simple? Yes. Be a twin, have the same things. If he's wearing red today, I'm wearing red today. But is it easy when I lost some fingers? Now I need to cut are you willing to, a lot of times we think that it's like, we're gonna make it really complex to solve the answer, but a lot of times it's something very simple staring you in the face, and are you willing to just go and do it? I talk to a lot of kids about, what do I need to do to jump higher? And I'll say a couple of things, and then, flash forward like 6 months to a year, and you ask them like, hey, did you do those things that I told you to do? I tried, but this happened, and this got in the way, this, and we flood ourselves with all those reasons on why not, and then it's like you're still trying to chase that complex answer because you think that that's gonna be the real reason that solves it. A lot of times, it's staring you in the face. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Keep it simple and really stick with that. Before I taught PE, I was a science teacher, and in my science classes, we talked a lot about the scientific method. And one of the big things in scientific method is controlling for variables. If you don't want anything to mess up your experiment, make sure that there are no other variables in the way of what you guys are trying to study and what you're trying to focus. As an athlete, when you're training, this is one big experiment, and you don't want any other variables in the way, even if they are good variables. A lot of times, good variables can still mess with what you're trying to do. So make a plan and stick to it. Good distractions, bad distractions, they are still distractions. In 2012, after I was done with track and field, I decided I wanted to come back and get back into track training. And I had a plan, and I was, training. And after practice, I would go to the gym and I would, lift and do my thing. And then afterwards, I started playing basketball. And then from there, I started dunking and posting my dunks on the internet. And it led me down this amazing path that I don't regret. I'm able to stand here and talk to you guys about dunk camp because of me finding that thing. But in the grand scheme of my goal of becoming a track athlete, that distraction, although it was a great distraction, got in the way of the goal that I thought I wanted to accomplish. So keep in mind, like, if you guys are, going down a certain path, and I, make sure that you're focused on what you want to do and don't let things get in the way of that. And then the last thing is the KISS method. KISS is an acronym. Keep it super simple. Or for my pessimistic people, keep it simple, stupid. Either way, it's the same thing. Just keep it, simplify it as easy as possible for you. And that's gonna lead into kind of the next steps when it's time to be disciplined. When it's simple, it makes it a lot easier to kind of stick to the plan. The great hardwood poet, Kobe Bryant, said, "I'm not negotiating with myself. I signed that contract with myself. It's non-negotiable." And he's talking about accomplishing his goals. Once he decides on what he wants to do, there's no talking in between that. I'm gonna do it, that's what I'm gonna do. And you just keep it very, very simple. And stay with that. And that's going to lead into our third step. It's going to be discipline over doubt. What happens when things start to not go your way and you hit forks in the road? How do you stay motivated? How do you stay engaged with what you're doing? So, has anyone ever been to the Grand Canyon? Anybody want to share with me how the Grand Canyon was formed? Does anybody know how the Grand Canyon was formed? Was like aliens came down and carved it out and spread it out? Colorado River, erosion, a very simple concept, erosion, water moving, cutting into rocks, millions of years, just relentless, just showing up every single day and doing the same thing over and over. You have this grand, amazing thing that it's a one-step process repeated over and over and over and over. A lot of times when we're trying to achieve goals and we want to do things, it is a one-step or two-step process. Do it again, come back and do it again. Come back and do it again. So with that, we need to make sure that, the focus is trying to stay consistent. I would highly encourage you guys not to seek motivation. Motivation is so fleeting because one morning I might wake up, I was talking to Chi this morning, and I was telling him after dunk camp, I am so motivated to train. I'm fired up. I want to that next Monday when I wake up, that's going to be one of the best training weeks that I have. I'm feeding off of, pro dunkers, and I'm learning new tips, and I have something to build towards. But 3 months from now, school starts again. I have to drop my son off at work or drop my son off at school and then go to work. I might have to take my other son and my daughter to daycare. I'm gonna work a full day. I have to teach, brand new students my policies and procedures. I'm gonna get home. They need to eat. They need to be fed. They need to, obviously get their work done, get them to bed. And then now at 10, 11 o'clock, I have some free time for myself. Am I gonna be as motivated as, the 3 months prior? Not a chance, right? So you have to get disciplined. You have to, create that plan, stick to it, and not rely on motivation, because there's days where motivation is going to be there and you can push and do amazing things, and that's what makes those days special. But there's going to be those days where you don't, and you have to learn how to navigate those things. And that's going to lead to the rule of thirds, which I'll talk about in the next slide. But with this, I wanted to show you Rocky, another great movie. All of the Rockies are on Netflix, by the way, and all the Creeds are on Netflix as well. If you're sitting at home and you want some motivation injected in those veins, watch one of those movies. It doesn't matter which one, because they're all the same plot. Rocky, comes out, starts boxing, gets his teeth kicked in, goes home, has this epiphany. Montage, Rocky comes out and prevails and wins, right? We watch the montage, we love it. old school 80s music. Rocky's chopping down trees. He's running in the woods. He's doing all these amazing things, right? And when you look at that montage is 120 seconds long. It's 2 minutes long from a movie standpoint. But your average boxer, when they're training for a fight, is 6 to 8 weeks. Now, I promise you guys will not sit in a movie theater for 8 weeks watching Rocky hit a speed bag for 30 minutes straight. No one's gonna wanna watch it. No one's gonna wanna watch Rocky wake up in the morning, knock out 6 miles, and then go guzzle down like 6 raw eggs. Like that's not gonna be an enjoyable movie. So understand that your life is not gonna be that montage, that your life is gonna be closer to that 6 to 8 weeks. It's not gonna be the Grand Canyon. It's not gonna take millions of years, but it's gonna be a lot longer than you guys expect, right? And when you're going through some good training, when you're chasing a goal, you're gonna have the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds is you're gonna have a third of the time it's gonna be good, third of the time okay, third of the time bad, right? And with with the consistency thing, you have to understand like, hey, when you have those good days, enjoy them, appreciate them, push when you can push, learn to call it when you need to call it. You don't need to do more than you need to. You need to get that, it's a recipe. Sugar makes cake sweet. Throwing a whole bag of sugar in a cake is not gonna make it taste that much sweeter, right? It's gonna ruin the recipe. You're gonna have those okay days. Hey, it's gonna be half up, half down. You gotta learn how to navigate that. And then you're gonna have those bad days. You have to, if you're not having this recipe, chances are you need to tweak your goals. If you're having too many good days, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. And if you're having too many bad days, you need to hit the drawing board, because you need to find a way to stay consistent. Because if you're having too many bad days, you're not gonna be consistent. And the goal is to be consistent and continue doing what you need to do. For me, when I'm chasing a goal for like a new dunk, I like to think about it as I need X amount of misses in order to achieve it. So like, let's say I'm working on a new dunk and it probably takes 500 misses. And I go have a session and it's one of my bad sessions. I missed 250 times. When I leave that session, yeah, I'm gonna be bummed. Yeah, I'm gonna be in my feelings. I might have that, whatever I need to do to make myself feel better. But then I tell myself like, hey, you're 250 misses closer to your goal, and that's okay. That's just a matter of perspective that you can change to kind of help yourself stay disciplined. But reiterating those action items for staying disciplined is just sticking to your goal. Understand, and this is more so, I spoke to my last group. It was a lot of the older athletes, but some of you guys, you guys are in school, you guys have other things in your life that kind of get in the way. Understand, something is better than nothing. Moving forward is gonna be better than standing still, because if you're standing still and everybody else is moving forward, you might as well be going backwards. And then the last thing towards all of those goals, and this is more of an internal kind of pessimistic mindset that I have that kind of helps me, is that no one cares, work harder. Yes, you're gonna have obstacles. Yes, you're gonna have situations, injuries, setbacks, whatever the case may be. Truth be told, no one cares, because it's not, they're the main character in their own story. They're living their own life. We all have things that we go through. I'm not saying that they don't truly care about you, but they do. But in the grand scheme of things, like I feel sorry for you, but I'm not gonna take your knee pain away so you can train this morning and make it, the world doesn't work like that. So the less you feel sorry about yourself, the more you can move on and kind of, persist and, stick to that routine. So just to reiterate everything that we've kind of gone through, first thing, believe. We had our visualization, our affirmation, our positive focus, and inspired action. Next, simplicity over complexity. Keep it super simple. Occam's razor, simplest answer is usually going to be the one. And then persist. Simple steps, repeated over and over and over again. I'm going to end my presentation with a poem. It is by Edgar Allan Guest. It is called "It Couldn't Be Done." Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe he couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he worried he'd hit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that." At least no one had done it. But he took off his coat, he took off his hat, and before we knew it, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubt or to quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you that it cannot be done. There are thousands of prophecy failure. There are thousands that point out to you one by one the dangers that await to assail you. But buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. Thank you guys so much.